Please welcome to the stage, Seb Barrios.
Having a good time? Can you hear me okay? Perfect. Anyone's first time here? Spence? Awesome. It's my first time too. Great to meet you. I've been having a blast getting to know everyone. And today I want to talk to you about the science of game discovery. I lead our teams for apps, economy, discovery, and ads. All of that comes together in this talk. Before doing that, I wanted to run a tiny little poll. How many of you feel like your game is not being discovered by enough players? Perfect. Got a lot of work to do this session to make sure you understand how all of that works. First, we're going to dive deep into how the algorithm works, what are the different signals that we use, and what you can do in your games to make sure you're on the right track. Then we're going to look at case studies for two very successful games you may be familiar with, 99 Nights in the Forest and Ninja Challenge. And at the end, we're very lucky to have the creators join us for a Q&A session. So as you start thinking of questions, we'll have the mics ready for you at the end. I want to start with something that I'm not sure we've done before, but in the spirit of transparency, I want to share a confidential slide with you. This is a real internal slide from Roblox. You'll even see that the design is a little different. We put a lot more work into the design for the slides we use with you. But our commitment to transparency is real. We want to make sure you understand what signals we use, how we use them, and again, what you can do in your games to improve it. At the end of the day, the main thing we're looking for is long-term user retention. If you think about it, time is one of the most valuable things we have, time and attention. We want to make sure the places where our players and their users are spending their time are rewarding, they're having fun, they're having a great time. And we have a lot of tools to acquire new users, to drive retention, and to reactivate users. So we're going to talk a little bit about all of this. But first, I want you to meet someone very special to me. Her name is Lei. She's my niece. We have a lot of fun together. She's a top Roblox player and user in our family by far. She was my first official Roblox connection. So we had a lot of fun together. I want to see through her eyes with you how discovery works. So when she's looking for something specific, she already knows maybe what she wants to play or what genre. She'll go to search, she'll search for a new fun obby game. Other times, she'll come back for an event, be ready for something fun. But most times, she'll just open her her app into the homepage and see something interesting there. The homepage is completely customized, so if you open your app right now, if I open mine, we're going to see something completely different. The swords, the games, everything's going to be personalized to what, again, the algorithm believes is most likely to catch your attention. And we're going to go through the signals on how that works. But at the sort of like basic level, we have organic reach and we have sponsored reach using ads. Let's dive deep into organic and recommended for you. And let's look at it from the real world perspective. When you and I make a recommendation, what do we look at? Lei, for example, really likes sushi. She goes to new sushi places all the time. She spends her time there. She spends her money there. She brings her friends with her. So for her to recommend a new sushi place, the experience has to be great. She also has to believe that the person receiving the recommendation is going to like it. And that's exactly how our algorithm works. We have the signals that indicate that we have a good game. And we think new users are going to like that content, so we recommend it to them. And this is all open. I'm going to show you the secret sauce. We're going to have a little taste of that, or a full taste, actually. Like the way this works is the first signal, qualified playthrough rate. How many people are exposed or see the details of your game, actually click through and play? So like no empty clicks count here. How many of those people stick around and play over 7 days? How many of them also think it's worth spending their money, their precious Robux on that experience? How many of them then actually come back over several days and play again and again? How many of them are spending their Robux again and again and again? And going back to the sushi example, how many people also bring their friends over to play together? All of these things, when you combine them, means users are having fun. We probably have a great game in our hands, and more people should see it and be exposed to it. I see a lot of cameras popping up for this one. Happy to report that all of this is out in the open, also on the Creator Analytics. So you can see exactly how you're performing on every single one of these metrics. And I promise you, we saw the confidential slide. This is it. This is what we use to make those recommendations. So make sure you go back, you look at how they're trending, and make conscious decisions about things that maybe you can optimize for to improve them. Now, we talked about organic. Let's talk about advertising. Advertising is a great way to boost the reach of your game, to maybe get the first few users in there, or even once you have a very successful game, to keep the loop going and keep bringing new people over. Right, so they're a great way to accelerate your growth. You're in control of them. They are, in many cases, ROI positive and a great vector for you to keep growing your games and experiences. And over the last few years, or actually just in 2025, made over 40 improvements. You gave us a lot of feedback. We took it all in, and we appreciate it. And feel free to keep it coming, including with the questions or forums or in our booths. So we did over 40 improvements in 2025 that resulted in a much simpler path to creating a campaign, only 3 steps. A lot cheaper to run, over 70% reduction in the cost per play. So you can get as low as 1 penny per play for a cold start. The manager is now objectives-based, so you can decide whether your goal is to grow new players, so you can use the maximize plays, or acquire new users objective, or whether you want to bring players back that have enjoyed your experience before with the drive retention, or reactivate users objective. You can also run multiple objectives in parallel and sort of optimize more than one thing. And I'm happy to announce that we are bringing a new objective in 2026 called Maximize Spend. The way this one will work is it will look for players that not only are likely to enjoy the experience, but actually spend their Robux there. So feel free to explore it as soon as you see it. So let's go back to Lei. You have her attention, whether that was through search or ads or just organic recommendations. There's another big question. Will she actually play after seeing your game? And when we look at the numbers, we see that only around 50%, sometimes less, of players who see the details page actually click through and play. And if we stand in her shoes and think about the information that she has available to make that decision, again, we talked about how precious the time and attention is. So for this decision, she can look at the thumbnail, she can look at the title, she can look at the genre, the description. And it's always super important that these are awesome and that they convey what's amazing about your game. But you can imagine that's not enough information. I don't know how the game is going to make me feel, how much fun it's going to be, am I going to be able to play with friends, what was the game really about. So I'm very happy to announce that we're bringing video previews. You can see Jailbreak here, amazing showcase, all the creativity, all the fun, all the different game loops that you work very hard to create. All of that being showcased to users in a very friendly way. And when we look at the experiments that we ran with this and the metrics, it was extremely positive. Increases in playthrough rate, increase in playtime, increases in spend. And again, if you put yourself in Lay's shoes or any user, it's kind of obvious, no? When I can see what a game is about, how I'm going to feel about it, I'm much more likely to play. So when you go back home today or whenever that is, try to think of what parts of your experience, your game you would like to showcase on a video. They're coming soon, and again, they're extremely positive. This might have felt a bit too theoretical, talking about all the signals and the diagrams and all of that, and it's extremely important. But we want to talk about specific case studies, so you can see some examples of how this works in practice. So let's welcome Sway, our head of data science, into the stage. Here you go.
Thank you, Seb. I'm glad to be here. And as Seb mentioned, knowing the theory is one thing, but really seeing it in action is another. And I hope I won't surprise you by saying that seeing data is believing, because I'm a data science person. And so with the permission of our creators, I would like to walk you through growth journeys of 2 games on our platform. One is a new game that recently risen to the top, and there's another one that's actually successfully maintained its momentum through a year. The first case is 99 Nights in the Forest. It's a new game that was created in June this year. I'm a huge fan. But before we dive into the detail, how many of us have played this game? We've got quite some fans here. And then for those of you that haven't played it, I highly recommend it. Hopefully, even without playing it, you heard about this game. It's actually in trending mentions, everywhere on the social buzz, whenever you actually look at Roblox-related topics. And the deer is a little bit scary. I have been playing it every single day in the last 3 weeks, actually, still working very hard at my level so I can be picked by the better team. As a data person, this is the beauty in my eyes. A daily active users chart since launch. You can see the early, steady, and consistent growth over time. And when you see growth metrics like this, and the social buzz momentum that we all hear about, there's always a story behind it. And in the next few slides, I would like to walk you through a few key tactics that contribute to the growth. So the first thing is that they kickstart the launch with an ads campaign. And it's actually one of the most common and effective use of ads campaign on our platform. The goal there is not to drive clicks. It's actually to find the audience that will click into the game, and more importantly, they will enjoy the game. In this particular case, they did. The retention is very, very strong among the users that were reached by the ads campaign. They keep coming back again and again. That's actually a very, very powerful signal that the algorithm now think that, oh, this is a fun game. I should consider it to recommend to more people. And that is where you see the gradual incline of the home recommendation. It started to recommend it to more people. And then it is the response for those people that's going to give further signals for the algorithm to decide the next move. So now that we've lit the initial spark with an ads campaign, the next question comes, how can I get my game to be discovered at an even greater rate? And the second move we've seen that 99 Nights team have taken is thumbnail personalization. Introducing the games to our audience is an art and science and requires a lot of creativity. On this chart, you can see the y-axis is a qualified playthrough rate, a signal that the algorithm take in, as I mentioned. On the x-axis is basically the time horizon. As you can tell, 99 Nights team uploaded and created probably dozens of thumbnails and turned on thumbnail personalization. Here's how the system works. So whenever you upload thumbnails, the system will try to send it to different user segments. And based on how the user's engagement responds, they will try to adapt and learn what is the best thumbnail to serve different user segments. Right now, it takes about 48 hours for the algorithm to identify the best thumbnail and they start to serve the best thumbnail to the corresponding user segments. And on this chart, you can see that starting from June, the system was able to identify continuously new winners. And every time a new winner was identified, you see measurable lift in qualified playthrough rate. And the beauty of the system, or I should say the motivation of this system, is that we want all of you to focus on creative thumbnails that authentically describe the gameplay, and that the system handles the rest. That way, the exploration of our creative and experimentation will become far more efficient. The third thing that we've seen that play a role to the growth of 99 Nights is very successful regular game updates and events. On this chart, you can see that over 5 consecutive weeks, they've launched very meaningful updates in their games, evidenced by a very, very strong and steady increase in daily active users, the blue bars right here. These are not just the filler events. These are the events that give players a reason to come back, bring their friends, and then more importantly, they really enjoy the challenge in that game. And this is evidenced by the D7 retention among those players almost tripled following the events. This is very, very strong signals to the algorithm that this game is very good at attracting players, but these players are really enjoying the game. We should introduce this game to more people. Now, we've looked at ads campaign, thumbnail personalization, in-game updates at a regular cadence. If I have to name one thing that played a key role to the success of 99 Nights, what do you think that would be? Turned out, it's actually something far more simple, but very fundamental, is that they build a fun game that people want to come back and play the game again and again. And I couldn't emphasize enough that the ultimate secret of discovery on our platform is to build a fun game. Every time we survey our players, why do they come back to Roblox? Why do they keep coming back to any particular game? The top reason has been consistent, because it's fun. And when you have a fun game, a well-orchestrated ads campaign, thumbnail personalization, and regular updates and events can actually accelerate and amplify the positive flywheel. Let's take another look at the metrics of 99 Nights. So since launch, all 6 signals that Sab mentioned that we use to understand if players are having fun with this game or not are actually continuously increasing. We already cover qualified playthrough rate. Their play days also increase from 2 per week to 2.3 per week, and Robux spend per user almost doubled, and their co-play days almost tripled, especially following the recent events. And all are very powerful signals to tell the algorithm that this is a fun game and we should continue to recommend to more people. And I'm sure if you open up your homepage right now on Roblox, 99 Nights in the Forest is somewhere there. All right, the next game I would like to discuss is Ninja Challenge. It's not a new game. It's a game that was launched in September last year. But before we actually talk about the metrics, I do want to emphasize that they do have the essential ingredients to be successful on the platform. It's a high-quality fun game. How do I know that? We see that in very, very strong retentions of the players since launch. But they didn't leave it up to the engagement alone. They actually work hard to earn the momentum month by month. The first thing they do, similar to 99 Nights, is also monthly in-game updates and events. These are not just cosmetic updates, even though they do pair it with a fresh thumbnail every time and turn on thumbnail personalization. These are actually new challenge, reasons for people to bring their friends, and also new ways for players to engage with the game. And as you can see, you have champion mode 1 through 4, so new challenges continuously to the players, and players enjoying it. And you can see the consistent momentum on daily active users right here. And it's actually very, very successful at sustaining the daily active user momentum even after the initial launch buzz. So coming into 2025, as many of you know, that we have a few record-breaking games on our platform that make the environment even more competitive for players' attention. And on this chart, you can see the home recommendations for Ninja Challenge. Starting from June, Ninja Challenge home impressions actually see a little bit of dip. But as you can see further to the right, that they actually climb back up. So what happened there? Let's take a look. So in June, somewhere in June, they actually make a very deliberate move to launch an ad campaign. But this is different from 99 Nights. they launched an ad campaign targeting former player. And because it's such a fun game, ads campaign was very successful at reminding people of the fun that they had, so they started coming back to the game. Again, it's a fun game, so they enjoy the game, they keep coming back. And that signal then gives the home recommendation a very powerful indication that we should start to consider this game again. And that is where this game rises to the consideration set for the home recommendation. Then you started to see the green light, a slow incline of the home recommendation. This is where the home recommendation started to pick this game up and send recommendations to more people. And those people that were reached by the home recommendation also enjoy the game. Those become the flywheel that contribute to the subsequent growth, further growth of the home recommendation impressions. And overall, you see that the total impressions that Ninja Challenge receive from the discovery system continues to increase. So 2 takeaways I want to emphasize from this story. The first thing is maintaining success on our platform requires work, and we do see performance of a game go up and down over time. But we designed the algorithm to focus on the signals suggesting that users are having fun and identifying signals that can give high fidelity indications to the algorithm that this is a high quality game, users are having fun, and we design our system in a way that become reactive and very responsive to the changes in the 6 signals there. The second takeaway is that among many other ways that can boost the consideration of the algorithm, ads can be a powerful lever also when used right, and then with the right targeting, as long as it's a fun game. I do want to emphasize, though, ad campaign alone won't guarantee increased exposure, especially from the organic impressions. We designed our ad system in a way that can provide incremental traffic to the game, but also serve the purpose of amplifying the signal to the algorithm. So if it is a fun game, it will boost the signal, and the algorithm will be able to pick it up and start to actually start distributing it to more users. And the results speak for yourself. For Ninja Challenge, you see the DAO, daily active user, back on the rise. Now, those are the 2 stories of 2 games on our platform that I want to cover today. Basically, same tactics, but used with a slightly different nuance and applied at different life cycle of a game, but all built on top of the essential ingredients. They're a fun game. And now I'm sure that instead of keep hearing it from me, we can't wait to hear from the people that actually make that happen. So I would like to invite to stage Cracky4, the creator for 99 Nights in the Forest, and Eric from Twisters, actually from Ninja Challenge. And I will welcome Sat back on stage for Q&A. All right, I'm sure that we will have more questions from the audience, but how about I kick off with what are the big moves that you guys are planning for the 2 games?
For us, weekly updates, continuing with that, and just trying to come up with new ideas every week to keep everyone engaged.
For us, now that we finished our original 1-year core roadmap for updates, we're considering adding seasonal quarterly updates now. There are plenty of something really big in the next month or so.
Awesome, more updates. I mean, as a fan, I find the alien updates a little bit scary, but I enjoy the new challenge.
Takers for questions?
Hi, my name is David. First of all, big congratulations to Cracky.
Thanks, man.
Algorithm is kind of like, I feel like everyone has like urban legends, myths about how that works. And one that I'd love for you to put to rest for me is, does running ads pause you from getting discovered by the general algorithm, or no? Because I thought it did, and many people that I work with think it does. And I'm just curious.
So I can answer very directly that it does not, but Sui tells all about the data science behind that statement.
Yeah, so I think it's actually, we got that question quite a lot. and I can understand the reason why this pop up. And then but there are two things I would like to describe. The first thing is the design of the ads and organic impressions. So the ads is designed to provide incremental traffic. As you can see in Ninja Challenge case, when they launched the ads campaign, there is a total impression bump. But we designed it in a way to provide incremental traffic, but at the same time, minimize and with the goal of no negative interference. So how do we do that? You can actually try many different ways to boost the games into the consideration set for the algorithm. But what will really drive the algorithm impressions is actually the actual response from the home recommendation impressions. So it will only be the engagement signals that we got from the people that will recommend, that actually interact with the impressions recommended by the home recommendation, that will drive the home recommendation movements. And then, of course, nothing speaks louder than data, in my opinion. And then my team have been closely monitoring the performance of ads and home recommendation, identify ways to continue to improve. Recently, we actually evaluated 370 experiences that actually buy ads, and then look at basically their metric movements in the home recommendation, and also is the ads campaign effective or not. We actually found out that 99% of the times, we actually see lift in total impressions, incremental plays, and then overall better performance afterwards. And for the 1% of the times, you see some sort of, I would say, movements in the organic impressions, but that was not driven by changes in any of the input signals for the recommendation system. It's actually something else. And that is usually related to the game performance. And also, I mean, audience can change also. As you can see that every single day we have new users, we have more users. So those are actually the things that contribute to those fluctuations. And then we also, on top of that, we did like incrementality study at an ongoing basis to understand if the ads campaign is incremental to the performance of the game. And I'm happy to report that in the most recent 10 incrementality studies we've done, that we do see 150% lift as a median impact in the total impressions received, close to 25% of the lift in the plays. But I mean, that is the design, and those are the data. But I mean, I'm not going to say that we're perfect. And then we'll be very happy to dive into particular cases that you might have at our booth, and then to take a deeper dive. And another commitment that we have is, as Seth mentioned, is providing transparency. So we do think that there's room for us to actually provide a little bit more insights about the engagement of our games through different channels to provide that additional insights there. So those are actually the working items on our roadmap already.
Thank you very much.
Hi. So I sort of have two questions. My first question is, how do you guys stay creative in thinking of new ideas for updates? And my second question is, how involved is community feedback in the creation of those updates?
So let me tell you how no, I'm just kidding.
So honestly, I just look through the front page and see what bigger games are doing for their updates and see how we could apply it to the obby format. And speaking on community feedback, we actually set up a feedback channel in our game. So we're constantly looking for our feedback channel on our server to see what people are suggesting. So like, are they saying the game's too hard? Is the wait time too long? And then we figure out ways to target those feedback points and improve the game.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. So I know we covered the 6 key signals for the recommendation algorithm, and I understand that it's also on the documentation website. Can we get some insight into which one of these have more weight or value placed as opposed to other ones? Because the impression here is that, out of the 6 signals, 2 of them are monetization based. So is monetization heavily weighed, or is playtime more heavily weighed? Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's a great question, and also a question we'll commonly get. And then we've been even pushing our team to think about radical transparency, sharing more insights about the weight or relative weights among those signals. That's a direction that we are working on. My direct answer to you is that we optimize the recommendation for user long-term retention. And then so we think about retention as a platform. So users come back to the platform every day, and then enjoying every game that they play on our platform, translating that into games, it will be users coming back to the game, play for meaningful duration, like they enjoy the game, to give the recommendation signal that while they enjoy the game. Monetization could be a signal suggesting that they're willing to pay because they're having fun. But the way we optimize the weights, or I would say the combination of the signals, is to see how does it collectively contribute to the long-term retention of that user with respect to that game, but also to the platform.
Yeah, I think I'll do a callback on the previous session, right? On how many people actually pay in games, and the number is low, no? Or could be higher, let's say. So it's not the main signal on like, oh, it doesn't work if you don't get paid. As long as it's a fun game, it's going to be recommended.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you. I have a question for the devs, and that is, have you or do you, when you launch a game, supplement your on-platform ad spend with off-platform types of marketing, such as influencer spends on TikTok or YouTube? And have you seen that help drive those signals to get you into the discovery quicker?
For me, I've always felt that Roblox ads has been all I need. So the objective for me is to get onto the algorithm as soon as possible. And in order to do that, you need to get a critical mass of players into the game. And yeah, I've just always felt that Roblox ads, they get the players in, you get that trickle of players, you get the stats building up, and then you eventually hit the algorithm, and then you are sent up or you're sent down. And the TikTok stuff, I know there's like a lot of hype behind that, and I think when done effectively, it can be like a cool hack. But if you have no affinity for that sort of stuff, I don't think it's necessary. Certainly not necessary, but it could be a cool like bonus thing.
I have a similar answer. We've done almost no social media marketing for Ninja Challenge. What we did at the beginning was just assess how much competition do we have, and then we set an ad budget based on that.
I'll also just add one more thing. Like YouTubers and stuff, I find rather than reaching out to YouTubers and paying them to play your game or something to that effect, the better thing to do is just make a great, fun game, and then you're going to get 1 million YouTubers playing it.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, this is also a question for the developers, and congrats on both of your guys' success. How do you, like, your update and your live op processes are so elegant, you're so consistent with your players. How do you orchestrate all the teams necessary to make that happen week after week or month after month and not miss the mark for your players?
It's been a lot of experience on my part. I've had other popular games and the guys on my team, so there's 3 of us, and they've also worked on popular games as well, and so we know what we're in for when we're getting into the game. I've built up a great collection of like very talented friends who help me out in my games, guys who do animation and art and stuff. And so when it comes time to do the update, I sort of keep in mind their different talents, and I try to create something where all of their skills being used effectively.
I'd say our process is a little more informal. For the most part, we just have a developer group chat. If we set a deadline for an update, we just find out, okay, do we need commissions? If so, we make sure we know who we're commissioning and get that started early enough to be ready for the update, particularly with thumbnails. And then we just set deadlines for certain individual tasks, like for the building and the programmer. That's about it.
Thank you.
I have questions for the devs. So when you said you have like a budget for ads, when you start running ads for the first time when you launch the game, do you just put all of the budget into like one short durations, or do you like expand it out to longer durations?
What we did for Ninja Challenge was we started off with a lower budget to see what our initial stats look like. So that way we were able to modify certain parts of the game that might be weak. Then once we fix those stats, we'll slowly increase the ads budget to give it more of an audience. And then once that becomes stable, then we'll turn off ads to see if the game can sustain itself without ads. And if it can, then we know we have a pretty good future ahead of us.
Yeah, same with us. We started with just a very small amount, so we could get those first few players into the game. We sort of observed what was going on with them, corrected bugs and UX issues in the game. And when we felt good about the game, when the stats started to rise, and we saw that this could really become a big thing, we just pushed a bunch of money into ads to accelerate our growth.
All right, thank you.
Questions from here?
Okay, this is about the 6 KPIs. So were those the only KPIs that really had an effect on the algorithm, or were those the main ones? Because there's obviously a lot of KPIs on the dashboard, so I'm not sure if those were just the main 6 ones. And plus, there was something about long-term retention, which would be like day 30 retention, but that wasn't on the 6 KPIs.
If I'm being honest, qualified play-through rate was our best metric for growth. At some points in the early stages of Ninja Challenge, we would see almost double the CCU when we'd have a spike in qualified play-through rate. And retention is mainly just what keeps us stable.
I'd add on to that the playthrough rate's great because it makes the ads more effective. And when we developed the game, we were not focused on these 6 metrics and trying to like min-max all of them. It was more generally trying to be aware that we are taking care of all these metrics, but not trying to game any of them, just trying to make a fun game at its core and be cognizant of those metrics and not like forgetting and not leaving any of them out or anything like that.
Maybe I can more directly address the question right now that the 6 signals those are the complete terms in our objective function right now.
That's the secret sauce.
That's our secret sauce proxy for the fun game at the moment. But figuring out signals that really authentically describe the fun is actually a forever focus for discovery. And then so there are ongoing works about even understanding the gameplay a little bit so that we can identify a full, I would say, capture of the mechanisms that users are having fun. That's actually the direction the team is going. D30 retention and D7 retention, yes, that's a good point. But we often see D7 retention and D30 retention to some extent they are very correlated in terms of the performance-wise. And then the algorithm is trained daily, updated daily, and then highly responsive. So on a going forward basis, we actually capture those long-term patterns as well.
Thank you all. It was great.
Thank you all.